Well, hi there. Hi. Um, so I got this planner, and I got it a while ago. It is I think it's called a Firefox planner, a Clever Fox. It's a 13-week Ultimate Achievers planner. And I've been putting off kind of like actually getting into it and using it because I don't know. I feel like honestly I've been stringing along. Okay, I've been barely making it. I'm kind of like, taking everything on a whim, you know. And I do want to use it starting this week because I do feel like I've gotten into some sort of rhythm. It isn't an incredible rhythm, but it is some sort of rhythm. And like some stuff is happening, like I had breakfast this morning. For me, that's a huge win. Okay, like it is very difficult for me to like get up and go actually have the breakfast, yeah, so doing that is super impactful. It is very meaningful, and I want to stay on that sort of rhythm. But also, and I feel like I've said this a few other times, I don't feel like this is my rhythm. As in, like, I mean, I'm kind of like doing the things and it's working, but this doesn't feel like a permanent thing for me. It feels very much so temporary. And there's just so many other, T's that need to be crossed and I's that need to be dotted. And the list, it just goes on and on and on. And that's really hard because it's just kind of this like exhaustive freaking list. Like there's so many things on it. And it just feels like each day, there's like something else that's added to the list that wasn't like expected, like an unexpected task. And these aren't just like wash the dishes or like take the trash out. These tasks seem to be like very complicated. It's like figure out how to file a lawsuit with no attorney, figure out how to consult a housing lawyer. It's like move across the world, start a new career. These are like really big ones. They're not small at all. So yeah, that's really hard. Because especially with the type of person that I am, like I really need things to start to fall in line. I need order. I need routine. I need a schedule. And one of the reasons why I took out the planner was to try to kind of make that. It's not just writing down, okay, do this, do this, do this. It's really like setting up these like tasks and goals as milestones, which I do think is useful. I think it's useful, but I also feel like how do I say, like I need to I don't know. There's just so many different things happening at once, to be honest. That is my biggest problem. There's so many things happening at one time, and it does feel like I'm not able to do all of the things. That's really hard. It's just so fucking impossible. Adulting for me is nearly impossible. It's very difficult. Just another one of the reasons why I do want to be very candid in saying, relationships are a lot. Like I couldn't even imagine trying to manage another person in all of this. Like that's nuts. Especially when so many other people, if you have like just as many issues as like I have, it add to the pot of problems. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say that. I do know, but it's just a challenge. All of it. And sometimes one thing I've been thinking about in the last 2 weeks is this idea of forced separation. And then the other concept, the concept in general of justice and what reparative justice actually means and what it looks like and how it feels. Because I just continue to come back to this. Just as in the reality of like water is wet, right? Like things cost money. And why are we not, and I don't want to say we like it's everyone. It's definitely not everyone. And it's definitely not even a large portion of society. I do feel like many people understand this very basic concept that like people will start with a full cup, but you have to drink to live, so then you have to take some from the cup, but you have to replace what you've taken. And then that's how you can like continue on in life. One of the bigger issues in society in general is that there are many people taking out of like the same cup and nobody is putting anything in. That's unacceptable. Like that is unacceptable. Like people have to put into the cup. Like that is required. Because if people don't put into the cup, there won't be anything left. And then there won't be any purpose for the cup. But like technically each person only needs one cup. Right? Like you don't need 3 or 4, you need only one. And if you have one, you can just use that one pretty much your whole life. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's just me over here with a bucket of concerns, right? It's always me over here with a bucket of concerns. I've got concerns. I've got challenges and struggles and like issues and problems and concerns and questions because that's who I am. I've always been like that. It's just so weird. It's so weird. So freaking strange. Also, I've got to say, like, some things aren't for everyone, and I can't seem to, like, grapple with, like, not everyone is going to be a fan. Okay, let's just talk about music for a second. Just because you like a song, that doesn't mean that, like, I'm going to automatically love that song. Just because you like it, like, that's not a thing. But I understand if you're like, I like a song. That makes sense. You have the right to like a song. I have the right to like a song. Like anyone can like a song, but probably we aren't gonna all like the same song. And like just because you like it doesn't mean that I am. And probably like not, you know. Oh man, I don't know. One thing I do know though, I feel like I've seen the fact that like I do really well with coffee. Like coffee and me, we work well together. Like when I have coffee, I feel like I can actually get up and do stuff, and I'm being productive. And I do think that's something it's taken me a minute to like put words to and like kind of like stand by. Though I see how weird that is. It's a little strange to like say that and mean it, but I am saying that and I do mean that. So the point there is like I should probably go have some coffee. Yeah. I wonder too, and maybe it's just something to think about. Like sometimes it feels almost impossible. Like you won't survive without someone. Like I felt like it was very hard to get to a place where I realized that my mother was not going to be able to be an effective person in my life, and therefore she needed to be removed. But for such a long period of time, she was like an integral person in my life, and I just came to realize like I was giving her all of this responsibility and making her this like, really key figure in my life, and there wasn't really a reason for that. Like she did not deserve that responsibility. She didn't have the capacity to take on that responsibility, and I was just like pushing it on her as though she could handle it. And like the reality is she could not handle it. She was not ready for it. That actually wasn't her responsibility. And that's real. Like sometimes you'll grow and you'll get to a place where you're like, this person can't, like you have to take, like the things that you keep, you have to be responsible for. I don't know if that makes sense to me, but I don't know if it makes sense to everyone else. Like, sometimes you're actually not ready to be responsible for like 10 children or like 2 companies or something. And why is that? Because you don't have the capacity to like take that on. Like you don't have that ability. And so like you can't do it. Like you can only be responsible for the shit that you can actually be responsible for, and that's not everything, and that's not most things. That's like some things. It's like a few things. Like a few. Like a few. Alright guys, well, when I find more to say, I'll come back on and I'll say it. But for now, I think that's all I've got.